I'm calling off my engagement due to my fiancé's financial situation. Male, 30. I've been with my 38-year-old fiancé for 4 years. We got engaged a year ago and started living together. Things were great until we gave joint bank accounts a shot. We don't make a ton of money, $90K combined in a moderately expensive city. I always grew up dirt poor and money has always been a huge source of anxiety for me. She grew up middle class. She's terrible with money and doesn't give a shit when I tell her it's stressing me out. I hate always having to be the bad guy when it comes to spending money. We would literally be out in the streets in a few months if I didn't constantly intervene in her spending. This weekend she finally disclosed a lot of debt I didn't even know about. $69K in private student loans, a couple grand in collections, and some credit card stuff. I had to spend a lot of time thinking about it, but I called off the meeting for a couple of glaring issues. 1. She ignores me when I tell her to cut down on spending, even when she knows I'm losing sleep over it. 2. How the fuck are we ever supposed to have a stable life and kids someday if we have $10 in our account come payday? 3. I didn't want to get stuck with all of that debt and resent the shit out of her, which I probably would. 4. She's almost 40. What are odds she will ever grow up if she hasn't by now? My husband lied about having cancer and it cost us our son's life. For a little background, I, 38 female, married my husband, 39 male, when I was 23. We were very much in love and got married after dating for 2 years. I've never felt insecure in our relationship. I always felt like I had a great husband. While my friends and neighbors were divorcing, me and my husband rarely had issues greater than arguments here and there. I felt like I had a perfect family. We have 2 kids, a son and a daughter. Our son is 14 and our daughter is 11. Recently, our son became reclusive, locking himself up in his room, spending all day on his phone or his computer. I did encourage him to open up and get some fresh air. But of course he ignored me. I figured it was just teen stuff. I was the same at his age. All my friends and family said he'd grow out of it. Now, my husband is a cancer survivor. He developed bone cancer at the age of 12 and was constantly in and out of the hospital until he was 17 when he beat it. He always talks about having cancer, how he was stripped of his childhood, and how we, our family, should be appreciative of our lives. I've never been anything but supportive of him, and I know health is a very sensitive topic for him. Fast forward to now. 2 weeks ago, our son killed himself. I don't want to get into the details, but I found him in his room. This is truly the most horrible thing I have ever been through, and I am still trying to recover. But the situation with my husband has only made this so much worse. In my son's note, he says he feels useless, that he's unappreciative, lazy, and that his dad managed to beat cancer and yet he can barely wake up in the morning. My husband was very distraught over this. I assured him this wasn't his fault, but he was inconsolable, especially about that part specifically. My husband was a wreck. I was too, but I still had to make funeral arrangements and break the news. I called my in-laws to tell them what happened. It's very important to know that I don't talk to my in-laws unless it's about the kids. My husband is almost completely no contact with his family besides his sister, but she lives in a different state. I told them a bit about what my son wrote and mentioned the cancer. My mother-in-law was very confused. What? Cancer? I didn't know what she meant, so I said, yeah, he felt like he wasn't as good as my husband, since he survived cancer, but he couldn't do basic things. My mother-in-law then said, what? He never had cancer. I was so shocked and confused. I told her he did and he always talks about it, but he assured me he never had it. My husband always has terrible things to say about his mom, so I wasn't sure if I should believe her or not. He calls his parents, especially his mom, abusive and narcissistic. But after the call ended, she sent me photos of my husband in his youth. Pictures of him on the soccer team in 10th grade. But my husband always told me he could never join any sports because he was always in and out of the hospital. This basically proved it. I was furious and blamed him for what happened to our son. After my husband came home, this all happened while he was getting groceries. I yelled and screamed until I couldn't anymore. At first he denied it, but after I showed him the proof, he stayed silent. I couldn't believe it. I punched him in the face, then went outside to get some fresh air. I'm honestly not a very violent person, but this is genuinely the most mad I've ever been in my entire life. I still don't know what to do. My son's funeral has passed, but I am still absolutely furious. I've been sleeping on the couch and only talking to him when needed. How do I tell my daughter? Should I? How do I tell all my friends who see his bullshit posts about being a survivor that he's a piece of shit and a liar? I don't know what to do. I feel so suicidal, but I don't want to burden my daughter by making her lose 2 family members like that. Especially when that means leaving her with that fucking psychopath that lied to me for 17 years. I feel so conflicted. I hate him to my core, but I still love him. Like I said, our marriage has always been good. I've been in love with him for so long now I don't know how to stop. I've relied on him and looked to him for comfort. Built a family with him, and now I feel backstabbed. It makes me wonder what else he has lied about. My mom sexually assaulted my dad, and no one is talking about it. I was an accident, birth control didn't work, and my brother was planned. For my 2 younger sisters, my mom wanted them, but my dad didn't. My dad thought having a girl and a boy was perfect, but my mom felt that there were still kids in heaven that she needed to have, so she lied to my dad about being on birth control. And then there comes my little sister, 12. That almost caused my parents to divorce it. 3 years later, my mom still felt that she had more kids that needed her, so lied to my dad, and there comes along my other little sister, 9, and once again my dad threatened divorce. 9 years later, my mom jokes about it, but now that I'm 18 and actually see how messed up it was of my mom to do that to my dad, and how she messed up me and my brother's chance at a comfortable life, makes me sick. Why is no one talking about she literally sexually assaulted my dad, all because she had a feeling? This is why I hate religion. Edit, I don't hate all religions, I just hate Mormons. Sorry for saying that. Edit, alright peeps, didn't think this post would get so much attention, but it did. Thank you to everyone who has commented and been helpful to me. I'm trying to get to every comment, but there's so many, so I'm sorry if I miss yours. I'm not trying to. Questions asked a lot. Why didn't your dad get a vasectomy? He wanted one after my brother, but that wasn't an option at the time due to money. After my sister, because of the medical bills, she was born 3 months early and still wasn't an option. Why would your dad trust your mom? Honestly, I have no idea. I don't even fully trust her myself. Why wouldn't your dad leave or get a divorce? Because my dad doesn't believe in divorce. I don't know why he wouldn't, probably financially better off. But he didn't. And to everyone asking, why didn't he get a vasectomy? I don't think you should be asking that. Why should my dad get something because of trust in his partner? He wanted one, but it wasn't an option at the time.